People who grew up with wealth. What was your unprivileged wake-up call? 1. When I was confused about people on Maury complaining their spouse was at the club and I couldn't figure out what type of country club would let people like that through the front security gate. 2. Becoming an adult and realizing that I have extremely good role models as parents because when they have disagreements they talk them out and I have never ever heard them argue or badmouth each other. I also realized that as a kid my parents got me the mental health help that I needed, even though it was expensive, and continued that care for as long as I have needed it. 3. After I had gotten laid off for the first time a few years ago, I took a break for about a month before diving into a job search. I was at the self-checkout at the grocery store next to a woman paying with food stamps. I had recently gotten $100,000 from my grandmother's inheritance and it hit me. I'm unemployed, not even trying to find a job, and I just got a boatload of money because somebody else passed away and she's the one people think is the freeloader. 4. I was gonna say I realized how privileged I was when I spent a summer with my great-grandmother in a small village in rural Hungary. No indoor running water. The only phone was at the church and everyone came out to touch the rental car we drove there in. This was in the late 1980s. 5. I don't really come from wealth, just solidly upper middle class, but as part of my job I do home visits and have many clients who are poor. When I first started my career in my 20s, I was shocked to discover there were people in the US who lived in homes with no indoor plumbing or electricity, with dirt floors, or had outdoor kitchens. Not like a barbecue setup, but because there was no kitchen inside where they lived. So they had to cook on an oil drum outside. I had no idea. 6. My parents are wealthy, but I grew up in a place where many of my peers' parents were super duper crazy wealthy, so I had a really skewed understanding of wealth. It was really eye-opening for me. When I went to college I didn't have to take out student loans, my parents were able to just pay for it. But I had friends who, even with financial aid, had to work their butts off year-round to cover the cost of school. I realized pretty quickly just how privileged I was and that I did in fact grow up with wealth. 7. Every summer I went to 8 weeks of overnight camp or some other cool summer program. A 30-day bus tour across the western U.S., 3 weeks in Australia. I had no idea what those cost at the time. 8. My parents loved to travel. By the time I was 16, I had been to every continent aside from Antarctica. I didn't realize that this was privileged behavior until I went to college and most of the guys I met had never left the country. 9. I took my friend to my parents' cabin and he said, "Wow, this is nicer than my house." 10. When I was a kid, my best friend came to our house for the first time and kept saying wow. He was really impressed that we had 2 TVs. It embarrassed me enough that I didn't tell him we actually had 4.